place. All right, we're going to quickly run through our picks of the week and wrap this thing up. Let's start with you, Andy Inahtko. Your pick of the week, sir.
My pick of the week is a really cool journaling app called Day One. And I think you can find it at day1app.com.
That's correct. O-N-E.
Exactly.
Yes, spelled out.
O-O-N-E. Oftentimes you'll get like the idea of, oh, I should keep a journal, not just for my deepest, innermost thoughts and dreams if I track them every day, but also just the idea of, hey, I just had a baby. I really want to like not lose all this information about, you know, what's happened with my kid's life day after day after day. And sometimes it's actually just a writing project where you just want to write something every single day. This is a really nice, it's almost like it's a word processor that is designed around the idea of writing something every day or writing something according to a calendar, because the central user interface is indeed what looks like a hipper version of iCal. It's just a calendar that simply quietly tells you, oh, you've written something for this day, you haven't written something for that day, and you can write pretty much good, rich text, long form. An upcoming version, according to the site, will also include media. So you can add that to the mix. So you can also have it remind you that you haven't added something to your journal today, so please, maybe you want to pay attention to that. Not only that, but there's also iOS apps for it that will integrate very nicely together. So while you're traveling, if you just have your iPhone, you haven't done anything today, and maybe you're not going to sit down and write 1,000 words about meeting George Lucas and him being so impressed with what you thought the flaws of Phantom Menace were, but actually just, at least I can put in 3 sentences of, oh, well, I was, I kind of like was a little bit under the weather today, so instead of taking out the recycling, I just went to the coffee shop and read for 2 hours. It's a cool inspirational app, because every time one of my favorite books that gets transferred in digital and audio formats to every device that I own are Michael Palin's diaries.
Yes.
That 2 volumes that cover from 1970 all the way to the end of the 80s, where he's just an incredible, every single day he sits down and writes a diary entry, and these are edited versions of it. And you really do think about all of the information that gets lost, that of course maybe you're gonna remember the day one of your parents died, you're going to remember the day that your kid was born, but maybe you'll lose so much information about the texture of that day, and maybe the days that came before it and after it are also just as significant. So I would really enjoy it if this app helped me to get into that habit of, even if it's just 2 sentences that said, well, I started off my Kindle my review yesterday, finally finished it today, but then I did the podcast. It was great. I got to talk to Jason, who I don't get to talk to as often as I would like. Leo was on good form, and then I went out to dinner afterward. Just that thing, you never know, like 2 years from now or 20 years from now, how interesting that'll be. So I think it's an interesting app to play with. It's $10 from the App Store, but that's not a whole lot of money for a really well polished app.
I keep thinking I want to do a journal. I know I don't want to lose these things. And I've downloaded a number of apps for that. This looks like the best, though. I'll have to download it.
It's a very, very pretty app, too. It's like, I'm so impressed with developers who not only have a good idea, but they execute in such a way that reminds me why I own a Mac instead of any other operating system. And this is a very, very Mac-like app.
But no stitched leather, so I don't know.
You'll have to get used to that. I'm sure that if you add that to the bug fix report, they'll add that as a trackable item.
Skeuomorphic interface, please. Good pick. Day One. Day1app.com for iOS as well as desktop. And now, Jason Snell, your pick of the week, sir.
It's amazing. Andy and I didn't plan this.
You're both writers. That's why.
Yeah, we were writers, and it is National Novel Writing Month, as previously mentioned.
NaNoWriMo.
1,667 words.